Hey, fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. We are hopeful that you are watching this as a Patreon patron or as a YouTube subscriber or as a Twitch Prime subscriber who has managed to figure out how to link your Twitch Prime account through Amazon Prime account. The instructions to do that are in the show description below. We actually get paid, a couple of bucks a month if you manage to do that. So would you please check out the show description, figure out how to link those accounts. I cannot believe there's anybody watching this who is not an Amazon Prime member.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. Right now, Doug DeShazer has beautiful lots available adjacent to Koocanusa Lake in northwest Montana. Pull up your RV and access the hookups, or build your own construction. Either way, you have access to world-class fishing, hunting, boating, swimming, biking, hiking, and the internet. No matter where you're looking to buy, make Doug DeShazer your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643.
Okay, fellow babies, my predictions for 2024, and I have done this before. I'm not sure I'm going to be all that bold, but my bold Nintendo prediction is obviously that they're going to have a Switch 2. It's going to be really expensive. I would say it's going to probably come in at $399 and possibly a little higher. I think it's going to be power pack, feature packed and have lots of stuff in it. Equally bold, I think you get the price cuts for the old Switch down to half the cost of the new Switch. So mark that down. Whatever the new Switch is, there will be a Switch model at 50% of the cost, which makes Switch ownership really affordable. Oh, I think they'll announce it, again, no E3. I think they'll announce it sometime between GDC and June, and I think it comes out sometime between September and November, more likely November. It really depends on how ambitious it is, but it's coming. You can feel it. It's coming. And not so bold, Nintendo's going to keep up the cadence. I will call this Mario Kart 9 as a Switch 2 launch title. Mario Kart 8, I'm almost positive, came out in 2014. We are just way overdue. Obviously, we've tolerated Grand Theft Auto taking 10 years. Mario Kart is a big game for them. It matters. They are perfectionists. It's going to be huge, but it's time. So my bold prediction, Switch 2, $399, Mario Kart 9 launch title, and Switch 1 gets cut to half the price of Switch 2. My bold PlayStation prediction, a woman CEO to replace Jim Ryan, and that's bold for PlayStation in general. I think she's going to be a Japanese national. I think she will be fluent in English. I think she will be a competent financial executive and will run that company well. As far as hardware, software, I wish they would cut price. That price has stayed too high too long. I don't know what they're going to do, but I would expect that you'll see a PlayStation 5 offered for $299. I think that the recent, it'll be the discless version, but I think that'll happen. I think that Sony has some games up its sleeve. I wish I could name one, but I can't. I don't know what's coming out on, from PlayStation, from Sony Studios. Obviously we'll have like God of War or something. Whatever they're due for, we'll get, but I don't know. So I'd say woman CEO and PlayStation 5 slim model, whatever they call it, cut down to $299. Boy, I don't think games as a service make sense for them. I think it makes sense to do it. I don't think it makes sense to be your primary focus. There are games that just make sense as ongoing games and games that don't. And, I think that the real problem is that Sony built its history on single-player games, and which are great. Uncharted, Last of Us are single-player games. And we just don't think of them as a multiplayer gaming company. They've done it, and they've had some that were really good. But I think you can't just abandon the old model and say we're going to make everything like that. And to be honest, look at some of the successful multiplayer games. GTA Online based on a single player game. It takes a while to make that transition, and it doesn't work for every game. And I think Sony just made a mistake trying to lead with that. Should they do it? Sure, for games that it makes sense on, just not for everything. So will they figure that out? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it really just depends on the CEO. Okay, my bold Xbox Microsoft prediction. I think you see Game Pass subscribers go up by 50% in 2024. They're at 30 million, so I'm going to predict year ending 45 a year from now. And that is going to require a lot of content. So they're going to have to step it up. They've announced quite a few games, obviously things like Blade. We're going to have to see some stuff from Activision. We're going to have to see a merging of the Blizzard portfolio with the Game Pass portfolio, which again requires licensing from Ubisoft. But one thing that would juice that number quickly is put World of Warcraft on Game Pass. And so if you're already paying $15 for World of Warcraft, you suddenly become a Game Pass member for free. What a deal. And if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you suddenly become a WoW subscriber for free. What a deal. So I think that's the one that people are underestimating how successful Microsoft's going to be. And, you know, I'm not going to predict Elder Scrolls 6 because I did it every year. Now there's no more Pete Hines to beat me up over. But, I think that Bethesda's been really surprising with how productive they've been for the last 2 or 3 years. That Arcane Blade title surprised me. I think that Bethesda keeps it up as well. So my bold prediction is no more acquisitions, big moves on the Activision Blizzard content side. I think it's too early for us to get remastered Call of Duty prior year games, but that's a 25 prediction. And when they come out with Call of Duty, the entire collection on Game Pass, that's a big deal. So I think you get 45 million subscribers. I think next year's Game Awards, they announced the Call of Duty collection, Call of Duty 1 through 20, all available on Game Pass in 2025. Bold third-party predictions. Wow. I think the biggest prediction I've got is that there will be yet another studio that emerges from the ether that comes out with a game of the year. So From makes Elden Ring, and they're, we know them, but they're not like Game of the Year every year award winners. We had Larian, they're not Game of the Year every year award winners. There are more studios like that out there. And the content, has gone from niche to just better and better and better. I would say CD Projekt is like that, because The Witcher, there's a lot of years between The Witcher, which came out of nowhere, and Cyberpunk. I think that 24, I think you're going to get somebody emerging from the ether that you just haven't thought about that's going to be great. As far as other third-party bold predictions, I think Embracer makes it. I think that a lot of people are convinced they're going away. They overextended in their acquisition spree, but to be fair, they're not that desperate for cash. They don't have that much debt. Their debt is manageable, and they're probably one big IP away from either making plenty of money or selling that IP and paying off some debt. If I had to make a bold prediction, Take-Two buys Gearbox. That would be my prediction. And that would be a good acquisition on both sides. I think Gearbox would love working with Take-Two. They already are. I think Embracer would sell. I think Take-Two would pay a fair price. And, Take-Two's already announced that there's a new Borderlands game coming, so it kind of merges everything together, because Take-Two doesn't make that much profit on the Borderlands franchise the way it's owned right now by Embracer. So I think that one would make a whole lot of sense. Other bold third party, I don't expect that you will see any major acquisitions of Take-Two or EA, or Ubisoft by any big third parties. I don't think the Saudis buy any of those guys. The Saudis will make another acquisition, but I gotta say, boy, did they catch lightning in a bottle with Scopely. You can go look this up, but I think I'm right. Monopoly Go came out on April 6th, and Savvy, which is a Saudi investment fund, they closed their acquisition of Scopely on April 9th, 3 days later. And, had anybody known Monopoly Go was going to be a $1.5 billion franchise, that they would never have gotten that deal done. So the Saudis made a brilliant move buying Scopely. Obviously, the Scopely guys are happy that they have the number one game, but that is really something. My other bold predictions, I think you're going to see a lot more use of advertising in mobile. I think you're going to see a lot more people kind of pivot to an ad-supported model. And I think ultimately, as you get more ads in games, and I'm talking about monetizing the 80% of gamers who never ever will pay for anything, they play only free to play, just make them watch an ad when they log on. I mean, people will do it, just like you watch an ad to watch YouTube. I think that'll create a lot of money in the industry, and that will allow the industry to invest even more and make even better games. And ultimately, that means that a service like Game Pass can drop down to $5 with ads. And if you get a $5 service where you get to play World of Warcraft and Call of Duty, for that's and Fallout and Starfield, that's amazing. People will pay that. So I truly think you're going to start seeing some traction on that. That's my bold prediction for the next decade, that ad support is going to change the way we think about games, and it's going to open up the games market to a lot of people who don't have very much money. And again, that's the goal. Like, let's let everybody enjoy the games that are out there. Not just people who have $500 for a console and a high-speed internet connection and $70 for a game. So that's it for me for 23 and 24. I'm done. I'm going to take a much-needed break. I appreciate you guys, all of you, tuning in and being patient with my often inane comments. And my last words to you, peace and love. All right, fellow babies, thank you so much for joining us on Pachter Factor. I hope everyone has a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday. I'm not going to make any massive political statements, but I do wish all of you peace, all of you, everyone, even the people who are unable to watch this. Peace is important, and just keep in mind that you can fix a lot of problems just by being charitable and loving people and hoping that they love you back.